What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all doing well today. Just wanted to hop on here and just do a little rambling on the subject of nostalgia and thinking about the simpler times, thinking about when life wasn't so complicated. Um, I don't think I'm the only one that shares this sentiment. Just the state of the world these days, and just being an adult in general, it really makes you stop and think sometimes about the simpler times. Back when life just made more sense, they said they they always had that term. You'll understand when you get older. Things will make more sense when you get older. But I don't know, man. Things are more confusing than ever. Just in regards to the state of the world. Like, sure, I understand myself a little bit more, and I have a little bit more of a lot of bit more actually of direction and drive and purpose in my life, but I don't know. Just understanding the more, they say that a wise man knows that he truly knows nothing, and it seems with the more wisdom you gain, the more questions you have just about why things are the way they are, and why we do certain things, why we all go to work for 8, 10, 12, sometimes even more hours a day, just to work for a dollar that's constantly getting devalued and having less and less purchasing power. It seems like we're having less and less the opportunities in our society are just getting taken away from us quicker and quicker. Now, I'm speaking from the perspective of a 26-year-old, so I'm very early Gen Z, and I think a lot of people in my age range and that live in the United States like I do, and even other parts of the world are getting the same feeling. Like, it just seems like the future that we were promised, the society that we were promised, is just being stripped away from us more and more every day. But I want to mainly focus on the topic of nostalgia, but I do think that ties into it, because I don't think we would be longing for the past as much if things weren't as insane as they are right now. Because people in my age range, we're living in a very, very interesting timeline, because we all, were born in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we came up, and sure, things weren't perfect in the times that we grew up in. We had to deal with 9/11, and our parents at least had to deal with the financial crisis, and the world's always in a state of chaos, but it just seemed like there was more stability back then. I think that's the best way to put it, is stability. And art was more impactful back then. Just on the topic of video games, since we got some video game gameplay in the background, I remember, gosh, we were alive in the prime days of gaming consoles. PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, PS4. That came later on. Oh my gosh, the GameCube, the Nintendo Wii, prime Call of Duty, prime GTA. Just the prime for a lot of the things that we see declining more and more often these days. And I remember the days when we would after school, we would hop on the game with the boys, and there would always be somebody online, always somebody down to run some Call of Duty team deathmatch, zombies, whatever you wanted to do. We all there was always somebody to share it with, and I have countless memories with a lot of these guys that I don't even talk to anymore. I mean, I haven't talked to in years, some people decades, and a couple of them have even passed on. Rest in peace to our fallen soldiers, our fallen brothers in arms. And it was for a long time, it was hard for me to deal with and come to terms with the fact that those days were over, and now we're gonna have to navigate an a world that's getting more and more chaotic. And I try to live with the philosophy of don't be sad that it's over, but be happy that it happened, because the fact that we even have memories to be nostalgic for, and times that we long to go back to, just shows that we've lived, a good life, a meaningful life. And I know a lot of the times we look back at the past with rose-tinted goggles because things obviously weren't perfect back then. But I don't think times are ever perfect for anybody. And I'm just happy I got to live those days, and I'm also happy because I see it on the internet a lot. I'm happy that I'm not the only one that shares these feelings, because it seems like a lot of people my age, we all long for that simple time where we could just hop on the game, invite the boys, get a four-person zombies party, have our whole team lined up as an entire clan in a team deathmatch or search and destroy lobby. And I take comfort in knowing that I'm not the only one that harbors these feelings, and I think it's important to hold on to them, not to live in the past or dwell on them or anything, but just to remember where you came from, what brought you to the point where you are today. Whether that be a good or a bad thing, it's part of you, it's part of your story, and I still think we have a lot of things to be grateful for, and I'm still optimistic for the future. I just don't want to sit here and pretend like, oh, everything's terrible now, life was so much better then, and we're never gonna have those times again. Sure, we're not gonna those times are over, and there's nothing that's gonna bring them back, but we still have so much time to make new memories and new friends and experience new things, and there's so many opportunities out there. But we had it good, boys. We had it good. I remember, just being a kid and waking up on a summer morning, having no school, and dude, I playing video games for 16 hours a day. I remember I'd played so much Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. My eyes my eyes would be bloodshot by the end of the day. I would look in the mirror and my eyes would just be bloodshot red just from how much time I put in grinding on these games, getting max prestige, getting the gold camos, grinding out zombies rounds, getting to round 50 with the boys on Kino, on Call of the Dead, Mob of the Dead, all these old games, and just talking shit in the game lobbies with everybody. And then once you're all done, once I was done gaming, I'd hit up a few of my friends who lived in my neighborhood or the neighborhood around me, and we'd all link up on our bikes. We'd go out and play basketball. We would play hide and seek or manhunt, which is kind of like hide and seek, except with teams, kind of like search and destroy. And when parents used to tell us, oh, enjoy your youth, enjoy your childhood, because you're going to want it back once it's gone. I think that's the number one piece of advice that I didn't follow, that I wish that I did. And trust me, there was a lot of advice that I got from elders that I didn't follow. But that one is one that will probably haunt me for the rest of my life, honestly. It's so true, because once it's over, it's over. But I don't see that as a bad thing anymore. I don't. For a long time that I did, but you're trying to push an immovable object when all you do is just fantasize about the past and long for it and wish to go back. It's all about just moving forward. It's all about just harboring all of those emotions and all of those good memories that you had. hopefully you had a lot of good memories. I know I did. And don't get me wrong, I didn't have a perfect life. I went through a lot of shit back then. And that's another thing too, is I don't want to relive a lot of those times, because those times were rough, and they made me, they put some hair on my chest and made me who I am today. And I wouldn't be as strong as I am now without having those experiences that really gave me perspective and really gave me appreciation for life in general. A lot of people, and myself included, a lot of people say, hey, I wish I could just go back and do this thing differently. Like, I would be so much more ahead in life if I did that, which, yeah, I mean, sure, if I could go back to 2010 and buy some Bitcoin, bet your ass I would. But also, if I could go back to, 2015 and not make a lot of those mistakes that I did in high school, I don't think I would have the wisdom and perspective that I do today without making those stupid decisions that ultimately led me to enlightenment, that led me to appreciation of hard work and appreciation of the people that I love, and all of that stuff. So yeah, there's not too many specifics. I guess I'm kind of just rambling off the top of my head right now, just saying whatever comes to mind. I'll never forget the Christmas morning when I first got my PlayStation 3, which really started my online gaming craze. My dad, he pretended like he didn't get it for me. I had been asking for it that whole year. It was 2010, Christmas of 2010, so that was when Black Ops 1 came out. And, Christmas morning comes, I wake up, open all my gifts, and I was happy with what I got. I was, but there was no PS3 under the Christmas tree that year. And my dad asked me to go get a garbage bag from the garage. And when I go in the garage, sitting on top of the washing machine is a little box, two boxes, one bigger one and one smaller one, wrapped in Christmas wrapping. And I immediately, I'll never forget that feeling when I went over and looked at it, because I knew exactly what it was. And it's memories like that I'll hold on to forever. I mean, I could go on and on about the countless games me and the boys played, the countless sleepovers that we had, just grinding out split screen. And I still go back every now and then and play these video games, and actually more often than not, I played, the old school Call of Duties and I guess every GTA is old school since a new one hasn't been released in almost 15 years, but yeah, it I don't think that I just play the old games for the sake of nostalgia. I do think they're objectively better games than a lot of the mainstream AAA games that we have today. And I'm also just not as big of a gamer anymore, honestly. I just have so much else going on in life that gaming took a back seat a long time ago. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to hop on here, take a trip down memory lane, and also just put things into perspective, because I know a lot of people struggle with the same emotions, the same feelings, the same longings that I have, and I'm just here to tell you guys that even though those days are over, try not to dwell on them too much. Like, look back and appreciate what we had, but don't think that it's all downhill from here, because even if times are tough right now, which they are, times are definitely tough, but that doesn't mean we can't work hard to create a better future for us and our kids. And I think that's a really important message that people my age need to hear right now. Just never black pill, never think that the glory days are over, because they're just beginning, boys. You know, we might have to toughen up a little bit. There might be some tough times ahead, but I think there's light. I know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. So I hope you guys appreciated this video. You know, I'm going to try to start doing these videos more often because it seems like it's an internet niche that's gaining more popularity, which I love. I love these kind of videos. So shout out to everyone else in this community. I hope you guys enjoyed my content, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care.